I thought I was alone. Until it crawled into my bed. True horror story. Liam always believed the night was harmless darkness, until the darkness learned his name. After moving into a cheap apartment, he welcomed the silence, unaware it was listening back. Each night, he woke with blankets pulled tight, breath stolen by a presence unseen. Logic insisted he was alone. But when something pressed into the mattress beside him, sinking the bed under invisible weight, Liam realized sleep was the most dangerous place he could be. Liam had been desperate for a fresh start, somewhere far from the noise of his old life. When he saw the listing, a small one-bedroom apartment whose rent seemed impossibly affordable, he signed the lease without questioning why nobody else had taken it. The place was old but quiet, tucked behind an overgrown courtyard that seemed to swallow street noise. The landlord barely spoke, just handed over the keys with a stiff, unreadable expression. Liam assumed it was just his personality, not a warning. The first day passed uneventfully. He unpacked, cooked a frozen meal, and rearranged his bedroom multiple times until the bed felt positioned for comfort. Only when night fell did a strange heaviness begin to creep into the walls. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was thick, suffocating, alive. Still, Liam laughed at himself and brushed it off as nerves. He turned off the lights and stretched into his bed, ready to sleep. But something felt wrong. The sheets were cold. Not the usual chill of a winter night. This cold seemed intentional, as if it seeped up from beneath him, climbing his spine. Liam shifted, pulling the blanket closer. He told himself it was just unfamiliarity with the new space. Then, the mattress dipped. Only slightly, like someone had just sat on the far edge. Liam froze. His chest tightened, heartbeat loud in his ear. He stared into the darkness, willing his brain to produce a logical explanation. He stayed still, barely breathing, until the pressure slowly lifted. When he dared to move, he convinced himself he had imagined it. Just exhaustion. The power of suggestion. The next morning, he found the bedroom window open by an inch. He had no memory of opening it. The curtain fluttered faintly, although no breeze reached him. He shut the window firmly and moved on with his day. But the pattern continued. Each night, the mattress dipped. Sometimes at the edge, sometimes behind him, always slow, deliberate movements. The cold grew sharper too, pressing against him with uncanny closeness. The apartment remained silent, except for the steady sound of something breathing that he tried very hard to convince himself wasn't real. Days became tense. Liam started lingering at cafes and staying out late, trying to avoid returning home until he absolutely had to. Everything in the apartment felt wrong. The bathroom mirror fogged in strange shapes, like fingerprints dragging downward. His bedroom clock stopped every night at the same time, 3:12 a.m. He would wake up then with the sensation of weight beside him. The mattress always sank. One night, unable to take it anymore, Liam swapped the bed's position again and slept closer to the wall. He shoveled pillows behind him as if they could protect him from whatever shared the darkness. Hours after drifting off, he woke suddenly, heart already pounding before he understood why. The dip was right next to his back. There was no space left. Someone, lay against him. Not touching skin, but close enough that the air between them felt poisoned. He couldn't move. It wasn't sleep paralysis. He knew he was awake, but terror had pinned him in place. Warm breath brushed the back of his neck. Slow, steady. Thinking. Studying him. Liam held his breath and counted the seconds, muscles trembling under the pressure of not screaming. After a small eternity, the weight slid away and the cold vanished. The mattress returned to stillness. Liam waited until sunrise before daring to get up. He ripped the sheets apart, searching for any sign of an intruder, but nothing was disturbed. Nothing visible. Every morning, he grew paler, his eyes ringed with exhaustion. Coworkers asked if he was okay. He lied. He said he wasn't sleeping well, maybe allergies, maybe stress. The truth was unspeakable. Then came the fourth week. Liam woke with long strands of dark hair on his pillow. He ran his fingers through his own hair, short, coarse. Not his. His chest tightened as he stared at the strands, noticing how they glistened strangely, almost wet, almost alive. He dropped them instantly, stumbling away from the bed as if they might coil around his fingers. That night, he refused to turn off the lights. He didn't care how ridiculous it felt. But at exactly 3:12 a.m., the bulbs flickered and died. The room collapsed into darkness, the kind of blackness that swallowed shape and sound. The mattress dipped again, heavier this time, as though a full body had climbed in next to him. The breathing returned. But now there was something else. A slow dragging sound, like nails tracing lightly over fabric. The touches weren't aggressive, almost affectionate, but that made it even worse. It felt deliberate, curious, possessive. Liam bolted upright, scrambling away blindly, tripping over the corner of the mattress and hitting the floor hard. Pain shot through his knee, but he crawled toward the door, desperate to escape. As he reached for the doorknob, the mattress creaked violently behind him, like something rising, standing. The air turned rancid, burning his lungs as he gasped. He didn't look back. He flung the door open and ran into the living room, flipping every switch he could find. Light returned. Safety returned. The bedroom stayed silent. He slept on the couch that night, limbs coiled tightly beneath him, trying not to think about the presence lurking just down the hall. Sleep came only in small fragments, and each time his eyes opened, he expected to see someone watching him from the doorway. The next day, he demanded to speak with the landlord. He needed answers. He needed to know why the rent was so cheap, why the last tenant left in such a hurry. But the landlord wasn't surprised by Liam's fear. He simply said the apartment had a history of sleep disturbances and unwanted attachments. His tone suggested he had given this warning many times before. Liam wanted to scream at him, demand the truth, but the landlord dismissed him with a cold, practiced stare. Liam returned home shaken, afraid to even step inside. But he had no money to leave yet, no plan, no place to go. So he braced himself for another night of dread. He placed heavy objects against the bedroom door and locked it from the outside. He would sleep on the couch again. He would not give whatever lived in that room another chance. But at 3:12 a.m., he woke again. Because something was crawling out of the bedroom. The door hadn't opened. The objects remained perfectly still. Yet long, pale fingers curled around the edge of the doorway from the other side of the wall, as if the wall wasn't solid at all. Liam stopped breathing. The hand slid farther outward, followed by a wrist, then an arm, stretching unnaturally, like a shadow peeling free from its owner. The body followed, emerging through plaster and paint as if the wall were water. The figure stood crooked, hair hanging like wet vines, head tilted with sick interest. The mattress hadn't been the destination. Liam was. Liam's body refused to obey him. His mind screamed for movement, but every limb felt locked in place, a prisoner to terror far stronger than muscle. The figure finished emerging from the wall, feet never touching the floor. It hovered, its shape wrong in every possible way, as if whoever created it had only a vague understanding of the human body. Its head shifted with a slow, crackling motion toward him. Long black hair stuck to its face, dripping with some dark liquid that absorbed rather than reflected light. It watched him with eyes too large, too knowing, like a predator already celebrating its victory. Liam's breath stuttered in shallow, panicked gasps. The creature floated forward. It didn't walk. It glided, silent, precise. Its hand reached toward him slowly, savoring the moment. When its fingers brushed his ankle, Liam finally regained control of his body. He kicked backward, scrambling off the couch and crashing into the coffee table. He didn't care about the pain. Instinct told him one truth: do not let it touch you again. He ran for the front door, but it swung shut before he reached it, slamming hard enough to rattle the walls. The creature's presence soaked deeper into the room, turning the air metallic and chokingly cold. He spun around, searching for any escape. The windows. He rushed to the nearest one and tore at the lock. It refused to budge. His shaking fingers slipped, and he slammed his fists against the glass, hoping it would shatter. It didn't even crack. His chest tightened as he glanced back, the creature now floating inches above the ground, drifting toward him with eerie patience. Liam backed away, desperate, chest burning with each breath. He ran to the bedroom, the very room he feared most. Objects scraped across the floor behind him as if dragged by invisible hands. He slammed the door shut, jamming a chair against the handle even though he knew it wouldn't help. Despite every rational part of him screaming to stay awake, exhaustion and shock dragged him under. He collapsed onto the floor and lost consciousness. Hours passed. When he woke, daylight filled the room. The tension was gone. The air warm again. For a moment, the horror felt like a nightmare, until he remembered the chair. The door. The creature. He was still on the floor, muscles stiff, throat dry. Fear became numbness as he stood and crept into the living room. The furniture lay in disarray. The couch cushions were slashed open as if by claws. Deep, narrow grooves were carved into the hardwood floor, spiraling outward from where he had slept. He wasn't safe, not even in daylight. Liam reached for his phone, hands trembling so violently he almost dropped it. He called a friend, any friend, just to hear a normal voice. But when the call connected, all he heard was a low, wet breathing. The same breathing that had matched his own in bed. He dropped the phone and stumbled backward in horror. He couldn't call for help. Couldn't involve anyone else. The entity wanted him, only him. He decided there was only one desperate option left. He would pack whatever he could and flee. Money didn't matter anymore. He just needed to survive. As he shoved clothes into a bag, the lights abruptly flickered. A loud creak echoed from deep inside the walls, as if the apartment itself groaned in protest. The shadows lengthened unnaturally, drawn toward the bedroom, as if gravitating toward the origin of its presence. He didn't care. He grabbed his keys, bolted to the door, and turned the lock with furious speed. Before pulling it open, he heard it. Breathing. Right behind him. Hot, slow inches from his neck. He didn't turn. Didn't need to. He yanked the door open and sprinted outside. The courtyard offered sunlight, noise, life, a world still obeying rules he understood. He didn't stop running until he reached a busy street. Only then did he dare look over his shoulder. Nothing followed. Not there, not visible. But the wrongness remained, lurking, clinging to him like a second skin. He checked into a cheap motel, walls thin and peeling with water stains. He locked every bolt and pushed furniture against the door like before. He kept the lights on. The room still felt like a cage, but at least it wasn't that apartment. He sat on the bed, exhaustion pushing against fear, eyelids heavy. He forced himself to stay awake. Minutes dragged into hours. Morning would save him. Morning always did. But sleep, inevitable and cruel. He woke again at 3:12 a.m. Not to silence. To wait. Something pressed the mattress beside him, sinking it deeply. No door had opened. Nothing had walked inside. It had never needed walls. Liam's eyes filled with tears before he even turned his head. Slowly, so painfully slowly, he looked. The creature lay beside him. Closer than ever. Its face inches from his own. Its skin no longer cracked, but smooth, alive. Its black hair pooled onto his pillow like spilled ink. Its mouth stretched into a grin, wide, wrong, triumphant. It slid closer, pressing against him. Its cold breath seeped into his lungs, stealing warmth with every inhale. Its fingers curled around his wrist, icy and sharp, anchoring him in place. 3 words formed inside his mind. You are mine. The entity didn't need to speak aloud. Its thoughts drilled directly into him. Liam tried to scream, but the sound wouldn't come. His throat tightened until he felt he'd choke. It dragged closer, its face brushing his cheek. Not a kiss, but a claim. It climbed fully onto the bed. The weight immense. Crushing. Permanent. Liam closed his eyes. Not because he hoped it would disappear, but because he understood. Running had never mattered. He hadn't brought the entity home. He had woken it, and it would never let go again. Liam keeps the lights on now, but it doesn't matter. Every night, the weight returns, heavier, hungrier, more alive. He no longer wakes up alone. He never will again. If you ever feel your mattress sink in the dark, don't convince yourself it's nothing. Don't move. Don't breathe. And whatever you do, never turn to look. Some things climb into our beds because they want to stay forever.